What's up, guys? Fuel-up727 back at you guys with another great video today. This time we're going to be working on the Camaro. We're going to be going through what I got in those boxes. So let's get started. So to start off with, we have no carburetor on the engine because it was having carburetor issues with idling, running, ever since we put the short tube headers on. So to fix that, we have this EFI system from Summit Racing. It's Summit Racing's brand. It's the Max-efi500 fuel injection system. 4 injectors. Supports up to 500 horsepower. It's self-tuning, and you can tune it a little bit. I don't know how much you can actually work in the software, but it is self-learning, so that's also a good feature. And then, yeah, the thing with this setup is you're going to need a fuel pump. Well, a fuel regulator, pressure gauge. I need to get a new one because I need to go up to at least 60 psi on the gauge. So with this system, you have to have a fuel pump that at least will get to 58 PCM or 58 psi. So I have to probably make this a 2-part video so we can do everything up here and then go on to underneath the car to do the fuel pump. But let's go ahead and open this box and see what we got. So, right away, got the wiring harness and all of its glory of mess that's there. Now, this system comes with gaskets, bolt-on O2 bung, because obviously air fuel ratio and using O2 to correct your fuel ratios. So got that, and then we got your O2 sensor right here, plug for the harness. We've got this clamp, got a suction cup on the end, and it's got a clamp to hold the right here. So got a clamp to hold the screen and display, and where you would adjust all the tune files or just the monitoring stuff. So display screen, and then the clamp for it, and then in here, like, this is really well organized, put together. Instructions were in here, but I was reading those. And then we got the coolant temp sensor, and it comes with a reducer or a reducing fitting. So coolant temp and the adapter slash reducer for it. And then right here we have the brains of the operation. So yeah, and there's the plug for it. So we got the brains, and I know you're all just dying to see these gaskets, right? So they're you got an intake gasket, you got 2 intake flange gaskets. So got those, and then in here, I don't know what this is. Do you guys know what that is? I don't. we'll figure that out when we get to it. But this I know is you plug it into, I think, the display screen, and then you can hook this up to your laptop in case you ever need to. And then this unit right here is the actual fuel injection system. So let me get this out of the wrapper. So now that we got that out, this is the unit. So we got plugs for intake temp. I think that's a throttle control. And then, sorry for all the moving around. I have my phone this time. Forgot to bring the good old GoPro. But pretty much you got your own linkage like you would on a carburetor. Idle adjustment for secondary and for primary. And then, don't know if you guys can see right here, got one injector. And then over here you got your second injector. And then you got two more, one and two, should be right there. So it's a 4-injector system, and as you can tell, you got all your different kinds of plugs for it. And then back here you have 2 vacuum ports, PVC and your brakes. And you got more vacuum ports for like a vacuum operated transmission. So you still have the functionality as you would on a carburetor, instead of having to change everything else up. Sorry, I'm throwing trash on the ground. Sorry for the shaky bit. But it is toasty out here, so let's get to work. Lost a clip of after I got done talking about the EFI system and all the parts and talking about the car. So let's get back to it. So now we're going to put it on, which I already did. But for anybody interested, so I have these studs right here. They're spacer adapter length studs, so it'll work with 1-inch spacers, 1/2-inch spacers, like this one. Pretty much what I'm getting at is that with this system, you can't run a spacer because the base plate of this EFI system is a little thicker than that of a carburetor. So just mind you, can't use your 1-inch spacers with these studs on there. So just gonna have to rock those long studs, but it should be fine. So I'm going to put the nuts on here, and then I'll take you guys to the harness and we'll start connecting stuff up. And more than likely, for my engine coolant temp sensor, we're going to be going in right here. I would assume so, because honestly that's the easiest part, and that's probably the only part that would make sense to put it, because I have another plug on the other end of this thermostat housing, but it would get in the way of the hose, and I don't have time for that. It's hot outside. So easy peasy lemon squeezy, do that one. But yeah, so I'm only a one-man crew and don't have my stand or anything, so I'm going to be doing the stuff and then showing you guys what I've done. So I'm going to put those bolts on first, and then I'll get to the harness and I'll show you guys what we're going to be plugging in. Alrighty, now we got the coolant temp sensor in. It unthreaded and obviously threaded in perfectly. Don't know about leaks yet because obviously you can't run it. But now I'm going to show you guys that these two, it doesn't matter whichever one you go to for a vacuum source. So I'm just going to plug the bottom one. Sorry, I had you angled down. And then I'm going to put this one in. So now my transmission has a vacuum source. So we're all set there. And I think for now, because I want to try and get as far as I can today with you guys and then come back for the second part, which will be the fuel system. I do want to do this first. So here is my fuel lines. And they are fuel injection rating, or rated fuel injection hose. They both are. So I'm going to undo this. And I found this around. This is a fuel pressure gauge. You can either have it measured in PSI, which is the outside numbers, or bars, which is the inside numbers. So this came with a tester kit, but since I don't have a gauge that would go up to at least 58, I'm going to use this for now, just to make sure the system's running right and I can adjust my regulator right. But this is a temporary thing. I don't know if it could handle like a permanent solution, but just for now, until I can actually buy one, because they're so freaking expensive. We're going to use this. So I'm going to put this on, show you guys what it looks like, and probably, I think I might, no, I shouldn't hook fuel up yet. I think I'll try and put the harness in and figure out where to put that stuff. So I'll get back to you guys. Alright, got the gauge hooked up. I can fine tune that a little later, but so the part about this EFI system too is that it's not a returnless, it is a return system. So luckily I just noticed, I know after having the car for a couple of years, I just noticed it has a return style pressure regulator and it's already hooked up. So this one, this up here would be my feed line because it goes into the side, and then down here's the return, so it would come down here and go back to the tank. So that's a pretty good deal. It makes it a lot easier for me when putting this new system on. But I'm going to try and figure out where I'm going to put stuff, put the harness under here, connect some plugs, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so it was hot and sunny, and now it's cloudy, windy, which is really nice, but it's gonna rain. So I'm just gonna show you guys how far I got now, which is farther than I thought I would have gotten because of how hot it was, but we're making progress, we're getting there. So here we go. We have the new EFI system right here. We got linkages. This is how the wiring harness is though. So this side's gonna be cleaned up. I just have to look up which injector's which. But anyway, so we got our coolant temp sensor hooked up. We got our transmission hose vacuum hooked up. So this is how this part of the harness is going to work. Everything was easy to understand. Throttle position right there. Pretty much you just match up the plugs, and then I'm just going to leave these tags on to understand what they are if I have to, you know, take it up, or if I decide to change setup with intake wise, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep this EFI system on it. But this, yeah, that's what this side looks like. Super simple. And then this side, what I was going to do, this is my tack wire, and I already have a tack. It's that green wire back there on the distributor. So I'm just going to splice these two together the proper way, mind you, so no complaining, guys. And then I'm thinking about putting the computer right here because it has enough cable to go inside the car. So I'm thinking about taking that bracket off and just reusing some screws there and mounting it there. So that's why this whole harness is over here. But these plugs are for the monitoring system, keeping those there. These 3 wires, gray ones for the electric fan, red ones power to fuel pump, and this is a power key switch. So hook it up to like the ignition key, and it'll power up the whole system with the key on. And then you have your positive battery cable for the system, goes on to the battery. So I got to do that. So yeah, and then I think that's my fuel pump relay. So nice and neat, big old mess. One reason I hate fuel injection cars is because the big old mess once you start messing with them, but this one's gonna be worth it, and I'm gonna make sure it looks real nice. Don't you guys worry. So I know the video isn't the best quality. Obviously my head was just cut off. I need to start bringing my GoPro. I know. You guys love the GoPro footages or GoPro videos that I came out the past 2 weeks with, but I know we're stuck with the phone again. So I'm sorry for all the shaking in the video, but at least you guys now know what we're doing with the car. We're going EFI with it. Probably hit around 450 horsepower with the carbureted setup. Probably about the same with the fuel injection. But it's going to be more reliable and more consistent because cold starts, I won't have to hold my foot on the gas right whenever it starts firing. I really don't like doing that because you could ruin bearings. And it's going to probably run a lot cooler, honestly, because of it being injected. So it'll have fuel all the time. It's not going to starve, run lean, then get hot. But yeah, this is going to be an overall decently good setup. But yeah, so this is going to be part 1. Part 2, we're going to do the wiring, O2 sensor, and fuel pump, and then give her a couple cranks and see how she runs. You know, I say it now, it's going to sound simple, but it's going to be a freaking nightmare to try and do that fuel pump. I'll make another video for you guys. So FuelUp727 out. Like, subscribe for more content. Leave some comments down below. I'm all ears. Criticize me, do whatever. I'm all ears. But I will try to get the video quality better. It bugs me, and I know it probably bugs you too. So I'll see you guys in the next video, part 2.